Well, welcome to another episode of the Profit Minded Business. We come here to just celebrate small business ownership. We want to become, we are advocates for small business owners, and today we're joined with a couple of interesting guests that will share stories of successes, pitfalls, just want to get some insights, just chit-chatting. One thing that we've learned over the years of running our own small businesses is that it's just good to talk to one another. Small business owners suffer silently a lot of times. They don't always have a place to hear that we all struggle with the same, very similar things. And so I just want to say thank you for coming to our show, visiting us, listening to us. And I wanted to introduce Jacob from Jones iVue and iVue Media. He is a common co-host here, but he's got some great insights and has connected us today with Matt. And Matt, if I don't want to steal the show, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started and what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Matt Ficken. I actually grew up in Dunwoody, so local Atlanta kid. Although sometimes I get some kickback when I'm like, I'm from Atlanta. People are like, no, you're from Dunwoody. Make sure you get that right. So that's always so funny.
Come on, the in-town difference?
Yeah, like technically you're outside the perimeter, so that's not Atlanta. Like, oh, okay. All right.
OTP.
Yeah. Oh, so you're OTP.
Mm-hmm.
All right, But no, I grew up in Dunwoody. Actually went to Woodward Academy down at College Park, so that was a fun drive to school every day. After that, I went to University of Alabama, Roll Tide. Graduated there in 2009, and then came right back to Atlanta, and been working in services sales really in some way, shape, or form ever since. And so anyway, now today we've got a partner in a digital marketing agency, so we handle SEO and PPC and some web development issues for our 90+ clients. Really across the nation, but we have a few, international clients here and there as well.
Okay, Great. So, and you were talking about beforehand, you've been doing this now for 12 years.
Well, so Techwood's been around for 12 years.
Okay.
I've known the partnership, the founder and CEO over at Techwood for about 6 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go into your history, what led up to Techwood, you mentioned a couple of words that people may not be familiar with, especially as small business owners that may not be up to date with how to run their business online. You mentioned SEO. That's a pretty popular term, but PPC, I even had to run that through my brain. Pay-per-click, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, it's good catch. As business owners, we get in our silos. And we're like, oh, everybody knows PPC and SEO and all these different different kinds of technologies and this, that, and the other. So PPC stands for pay-per-click advertising, and it was actually something. So when Techwood was first founded, it was an SEO shop. So we just did, and that's search engine optimization. So that's getting people to organically sort of stumble upon your site. The pay-per-click side is paying. So you're paying to get that traffic on your site. A lot of times on the organic side, we see it. It just takes longer because of the algorithms of these search engines. They want to see consistency over a period of time among a myriad of other things. But on the paid side, it's a little more like, all right, you're willing to pay us for advertising placement on our display network or even our social networks like Facebook / Instagram or LinkedIn. We will put your ads in front of relevant topic or relevant consumers of that information. Sure. So PPC, pay-per-click advertising. It's actually sort of funny. I have a little side story. I was working with this was a prospect and at the time, and anyway, she said, I think one of the terms we want to show up for is HDD. So I did a quick, this was over the phone, so I did a quick, Google search, okay, HDD, I should maybe know what that is. And I brought up this thing about hard drives. I can't
hard disk drives.
Yeah, there it is. And this is a very niche construction company. So I was like, hard disk drives, huh? And she was like, what? No. Horizontal directional drilling, of course. I was like,
should have thought of that.
Yeah, duh. We all know about that. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, it's funny. It's people will get all excited and put all this time and energy into this website. I've got to get the website right.
Yeah.
And they spend all this energy, time, and all this stuff, and then it just dawns on them at some point that no one's coming to their site. And they're like, but I had this website now, and so what you really do is help the right buyer find the right person to go buy from. And there's all kinds of ways to do it. Obviously, pay-per-click, SEO, but SEO is complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way I understand it is that the Google and Bing and all the search engines keep changing what they're looking for.
Yeah. So there's some arguments there, like, are they just doing that so that they stay relevant? But no, I genuinely do believe that Bing and Google, they make changes to their algorithms so that they're able to better serve the searchers of content. I want to serve up the right content very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So anything you can do on your website side to make sure that happens more for Google, let's just say, they're going to pull you up in rankings because your site's more relevant. It's easier to consume from Google's standpoint, and the user experience is better. So
Right.
Yeah, let's serve up the site. This person is searching for keyword terms that are all throughout your website. And it's funny, so the founder of Techwood, his name is Jack Ogilvy, so he would always, he really romanticizes organic and SEO, and I remember when he first started telling me about it, I was like, sounds like really easy to me, Jack, and then when I would sit down with him and actually get into these discussions, you'd say like, oh my gosh, this is fascinating, first of all, and this algorithm changes 500 times a year sometimes. So having somebody that can be making those changes for you while you're out working more on your business is important. That whole E-myth, working, I want to get back to working on my business and get out of working in it.
Yeah.
We run into that a lot with small business owners where they're, well, no, I know my product or I know my space better than you do. Like, yes, you absolutely do.
Yeah.
I know marketing better than you. I can't tell you, I was talking to a plastic surgeon, this was a prospect, he didn't wind up becoming a client of ours, but he says, I've got all these, I don't know if I'm giving away too much information, but he was in Manhattan and he said, when you search best plastic surgeon in Manhattan, I don't even show up. And these other jokers who do show up, in the medical community, they're not even considered, very good, like you were saying.
Right.
I said, yeah, that's because they've done a good job with marketing.
Yeah.
Google doesn't understand necessarily
Skill or quality.
Yeah, they're never going to be able to
Exactly.
qualify this person good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
Yeah, that's been kind of a common theme that we've talked a little bit about on this show is how you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't market it, just like musicians, the best musician out there, probably someone you've never heard of just because they're not good marketers. And, you like to think maybe marketing is half the battle, but I would even say that's, as long as you have a decent product, hopefully a good product, marketing is, I would say 95% of the rest that needs to be done, 5% of the sale,
Yeah, and then you sort of brought up there at the end is the sales aspect of it. Everybody wants to drive revenue, right? So they're like, oh, well, I'll just get a stable of great sales guys and girls in here. And okay, now you got fantastic people in here to sell, but if they don't have marketing materials or leads coming in, what are you really sending them out into the world to sell and do? I mean, you're really not making their job very easy for them.
It goes back to the whole putting out the website and not having any traffic. You only need the salespeople, then you don't have the people, the traffic again to sell to, right?
Exactly. A lot of people will spend a ton of money, sort of in that same vein. They'll spend a ton of money. They'll outsource their development of their website, as in most cases you probably should. I mean, beautiful website, man. Yeah, all these like custom apps on it, just fantastic. Really, aesthetically, it's beautiful, but it is not optimized for SEO. So you've built this mansion in the middle of nowhere.
With no roads.
Yeah, with no roads to it. That's maybe better. Nobody's showing up and seeing it. So that's why I try to catch people on that. They'll dump a lot of money in the front end of their budget on the website, and then I'll say, you should devote some of this budget to making sure you're optimized for organic search.
Let's talk about the budget that is required, because I think a lot of folks, no one here is going to disagree with this conversation. What happens is that they don't understand the budget component of it. And then a lot of times, it's not even a function of the budget as much as the ROI.
Yeah.
Because it's an intangible thing, and because you can't say, well, I guarantee you're going to see. You don't know yet exactly, right?
Well, so on the PPC side, there is a way to, you can attribute all these things, and you can say, hey, these calls came in from your website, or from Google Ads that were on the display network. People were searching on their phones over 63% of searches are done mobile now, and we can say, well, here's the calls. You know, we can attribute every single thing, and of course, sometimes it's like, wow, they Googled the brand name, or they Googled something relevant, saw the brand name, didn't share, went to the site, came back from the site, left the site, whatever, and then 3 weeks later it converted. So how do we attribute that? There can be some of that, but generally speaking, with organic and PPC, but definitely on the SEO side with the organic traffic, you can start seeing, if you can give it time, if you can give it a year of doing these things correctly and putting out good content behind a comprehensive keyword strategy, that's when your return, you can start just seeing inbound leads from your website go from, your return starts getting up into 5, 7, 15x.
Okay.
It's really a powerful thing. On the PPC side, you'll see that return a little more immediately because you're paying to play.
Yeah.
And then the only thing there is it's a little bit coin operated. You have to keep buying that ad spend.
Like that coin operated.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked a little bit about consistency, and Corbin brought up budget. What is, you would say, like a minimum budget for a small business, a startup company? They have a product ready to go to be marketed, and they want to start bringing traffic in.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think a small business owner or this company can do that on a limited budget?
Yeah, and I run into this actually quite a bit just from my experience with startups. I actually just connected a startup last night with some funding. I hope that works out for him. But anyway, a lot of the approach that I'll suggest is because that PPC, that's the pay-per-click side, it can be a little more immediate. You're talking getting leads in the door in weeks as opposed to months on the SEO side. I say the PPC services can generally range a little bit lower in cost, and like to have an SEO or PPC agency rather set up your pay-per-click strategy, but also like your Google AdWords account and what you're doing on Facebook and that kind of thing. It can be a little bit cheaper than investing in SEO, search engine optimization. So you can get some quick wins in like a 6-month period that you're paying for on that ad spend, but at a little bit tighter, lesser of a budget.
Yeah.
Than going the other way with organic.
So that kind of seems counterintuitive, that you're spending less even though it's paid advertising versus SEO, which is, organic. Can you talk a little bit about the reasoning behind that?
Well, the on the paid side, you have to pay for the media spend too. So
Right.
And so that gets factored into it to some degree, but also the setup can be, you're paying for our
Copy and your thought process around how to drive.
well, you're definitely paying for the ad copy and the experience that we have in setting these things up, but it's a little bit more of a clearer path, because on the organic side, Google, as an example, doesn't always tell you exactly what they're after.
Right.
So they'll make changes to their algorithm, and again, this is on the organic side, and you'll suffer the consequences of it, and you won't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
PPC, that's not the name of the game. The name of the game is you're paying for the ads.
You pay and you show up top.
Yeah.
Okay. So, were you gonna mention something?
Well, I was just going to say, depending upon the industry, and the keyword is how you determine how much you have to spend in order to get the traffic or the opportunities that you're looking for, the leads.
Yeah, so it's all about figuring out that's one thing that PPC is good. It's one of many things PPC is good for is you can do a lot of A/B testing, and you can figure out real quick this isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
On the organic side, not so much, but
Sure.
so you can delve into and find new audiences. That's interesting, but it's something that you want to make sure that you're spending lots of time doing and finding new keywords and new audiences on the PPC side. But
So how do you go about like defining a strategy? Business owner wants to start, no experience with digital advertising, or so maybe you tried out a couple Facebook ads or Google AdWords, but just with a spaghetti at the wall type of approach. how do you structure that into something that can hopefully bring in more results?
Yeah, that's funny. So we see that all the time. We're like, well, we tried Facebook and it was really ineffective. Who tried Facebook? Me, the founder of this, construction company did. I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's some things you don't know about the Facebook attribution model, and there's some things you don't know about where to insert the pixel and these kinds of things, or where to use the pixel to attribute all your traffic. And a lot of times too, you see where we'll gain access to somebody's Google Ads account as an example, or their Facebook account, and you'll see that, oh, you tried something for 3 days and turned it off. I mean, you didn't really even give it a shot. So the idea for us is to determine a keyword strategy based on a lot of times what some of your competitors are doing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
it's working.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Or even if it's like, hey, Amazon is like buying up all this ad, all these particular keywords, maybe we want to stay away from those and not bid on them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or maybe we just don't want to bid on those particular words in the month of October for some reason, so we toggle that way down. Or maybe we don't want to bid on those AdWords because, or we only want to bid a certain amount on these AdWords when it's a male over the age of 55 looking for our product because we sell used car parts. I don't want to bid high on a 16-year-old young woman who's looking for something that's probably not related to what we do.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting to toggle that ad spend. But it also drives the strategy. And that's what I was talking about earlier, and I sort of forgot your question, I think. But it was really just trying to figure out, okay, this is working and this isn't working. These are new audiences where we didn't even know that based on these keywords, we found these new areas and new people, these affinity audiences that actually would buy our product. So now let's keep going down that rabbit hole until we start getting negative results. And it's a process of that.
So just so to kind of clarify the people who are listening, what does your typical customer or client look like right now as far as size and maybe a vertical, or maybe just describe so they know who you're talking about when you're working with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a lot of times, e-commerce companies, it's very important that their website not only look good and be well developed, but the website also has to have traffic driven to it and it has to convert that traffic. So e-commerce is a big piece. We don't, but so too are informational sites or consumer sites. So we don't have one particular area that we just have one specialty in. So B2B, B2C, we have plenty of both. Like I said, we have 90 plus clients. We do have a nice little, retail honeypot, I'll call it, where you've got like cosmetics and skincare lines, workout clothes, men's golf apparel, things like that. But again, those kind of tie back to that's the nature of those industries, is we have to be online, and that's where we're making all our money.
Right. And with them specifically, they're going in to actually purchase something, buy something from the site.
Right. It's all about conversion. And for some people, it's, okay, I want to convert traffic on the website, right? I want people to come, I want them to fill up their shopping cart, check out, and they're gone.
Right.
And then I want to retarget them later with some paid ads, so that they come back to the site and buy more later.
Yeah.
So that's a whole strategy. But then also you want to make sure that, what was your question specifically?
Well, I was really just trying to help the listener understand that your goal for an e-commerce site is for them to, a buyer to say, I want some yoga pants, and end up searching for, whatever it is, a certain type of yoga pants, and then they end up on their site because they show up, whether it's a paid ad or organic, and they go in, fill the shopping cart, purchase, leave, they receive their stuff, leave a review of some kind.
So sometimes it's, we're working with a big construction company. No one is going to commission them online. No one is going to fill up their proverbial shopping cart on a commercial. Hey, I want to build a pier in San Francisco.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I just found this one online. Like, we'll just buy
Add the cart.
Yeah. Like, no one's doing that. Maybe that's,
$2 million. I agree for this project.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just finished the project.
You guys take Amex, right?
Yeah.
But so for them, it's all about impression share, and so conversion to them on the website is when someone signs up for the newsletter, or someone engages with a sales rep, or somebody maybe even just reads an informational blog post. So that then there's a content strategy behind that. I want to make sure that the keywords are showing up. So if someone is out there looking for construction services, San Francisco, pier construction,
Right.
I want my client's website to show up.
Yes.
And I want them to then find some educational information on your site. And then I want them to engage with you.
Sounds like you have to do a lot of work on the front end of the buyer's journey
You got it.
so that you understand how they might search for them in general, and then what their buying process looks like.
Yeah.
Which it could be, hey, I want yoga pants. There they are. Click, buy. Or it could be, I need to understand who this company is, their process, their story, trust.
Yeah, it's all about finding out. So we want to find, especially when we're developing that keyword strategy, we want there to be a healthy amount of volume, search volume. So if no one's out there searching for what you're doing, maybe you're a disruptive technology. Okay, no one's searching for it. We need to think of some alternate strategies. But if we've got decent search volume for what you do, we don't want to have too much, and we don't want to have it too little either necessarily. We want to make sure that we've paired an accurate amount of search volume with searcher's intent.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good example off the top of my head, but sometimes people might be searching for your services, like maybe going back to that HDD. You think somebody's searching for HDD because they want horizontal directional drilling, but in fact they wanted hard drives. You know what I mean? And so that's maybe not a term that we want to show up for, some industry term or something like that.
Right.
So you also mentioned like content. So once they do, the business uses the correct keyword to show up either through SEO, organic, or pay-per-click advertising. How do you find like the content on their website plays into the next action of the consumer? So do you find more people, like if they're having to read through information, not really make that next step as opposed to a video, and I'm sure it also varies a little bit between like a good that you can buy through like an e-commerce site again versus like a service provider?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of, I think kind of what you're asking about is what they call conversion rate optimization. So back to what we were talking about, like I want to make sure this traffic is converting on the website. I want to really specifically concentrate on how to make them convert well,
Right.
or like get that ratio up. So things like user experience become very important. If your site looks kind of janky, I don't feel very good on it, my trust isn't there, like you were alluding to earlier, then I don't know if I want to give these people my credit card information. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm going to a different website. I'm going to buy the product somewhere else. So that's very, very important when considering making sure the traffic, we got lots of traffic to the site. We have a beautiful site. Now I want to make sure it's converting. I want to make sure user experience is good. We also want to make sure that you've got a strategy behind that content so that it's actually helping you to rank higher.
Right.
Yeah, so like if you're consistently, the algorithms tend to like if you were consistently putting out good content. So back to that, I guess that construction company, if they're putting out like case studies regularly and people are like, oh wow, look at this project they did. Google, as an example, sees that you're putting out fresh content consistently for these certain words you're trying to rank for. They can spot that, and then they'll pull you up in the rankings.
Right.
On the organic side of the house, when people are looking for pure construction services in San Francisco.
So now going backwards a little bit into your history, you didn't start off in digital marketing. How did that path come to be?
I it's sort of funny. So I worked for a managed service practice, and we worked on enterprise level content management projects. And one of the things that we wanted to do was get more traffic from the website. And my role there was in charge of inside sales, so I was definitely wanting some inbound leads. That sounded great. And we had
your job easier.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and we had a great website, so we wanted to make sure that we were increasing traffic to the website and then increasing that conversion. So we hired a company called Techwood, and which is where I am today. And it's sort of funny and semi-incestuous, I guess. But no, I started working with them, and I just became more and more like fascinated by how powerful digital marketing is in general, and how I feel like it's such. We see it so much. I mean, it's, hey, you take a call with somebody that was doing a ton of print advertising, have a prospect right now, and they were dumping a ton of money in these like magazines, and they're like, okay, this is pretty obviously not working anymore. So they're starting to dial it back, and you just redirect those dollars to digital marketing. I think you and I were talking about this earlier. Like that's where the industry's going. That's where people are searching on their phones. They want to be informed before they make the decision, versus buying up a catalog increasingly.
And I think even the way that people are, wanting to consume that information is changing. Not just from physical to digital, but even from like digital articles or text that you may read, to where I saw something that's been on my mind that's I find kind of fascinating, that YouTube is the second most popular search engine behind Google, and it's growing at a faster rate. That's because more and more people are wanting to watch videos than anything else.
Yeah, I think that speaks to millennials always get a hard time. I'm technically a millennial, so but the attention span thing. Like I don't have to spend a ton of time with something if I don't want to, because there's so much content out there. So if you can produce a video, and I meant to mention this earlier, if you can put a video on your website that draws people in, that makes people want to actually stick around, and spend 30 seconds there watching this video, they'll be learning about who you are and what you do. That's I don't know if it's holy grail, but that's really important. That's a key metric, and today people are watching what you're doing on their website. It's like, oh yes, they're watching the video.
Yeah, active users.
Active
users.
And so video content, I'm always pushing that as a great way. It can help out with SEO, and just also, then there's this whole, the influencers are becoming so. So we have a number of beauty brands, and we've got them so that they're working with influencers who will do like a do-it-yourself home makeup kit using one of our clients' products, and they're pushing that out all over their Instagram, which is great. But then also that's producing a video that we can link to, or we can put on the site, or we can serve up as an ad. We can kind of repurpose it and serve it up as an ad on YouTube.
Right, and it's not organic in the sense of like SEO, but it's very organic in the sense that it's someone else representing your product that has a community of their own, that they're drawing in people all without having to serve that advertisement directly to them. That's someone that they're not familiar with.
It seems like that's almost even more organic in a lot of ways, because it's especially in the beauty arena, someone here is actually using the product and then demonstrating how that helped or didn't help, or worked or didn't work, or is pretty or not pretty.
We had a guest on the show, Brett Yoakley.
Yeah.
He runs a local gym here, and he's looking to get more into the online fitness market. And as you probably know, that's very heavily influenced by Instagram and social media influencers, where they're making a much better living running an online fitness program, selling this whey protein powder and these protein bars and the apparel than they ever would at like a local gym. And not to say it's less work, but you don't even have to have like the typical bodybuilder physique, there's just the average Joes out there being able to leverage these platforms. And like we talked about earlier, a lot of it's just marketing now. It's you don't have to have the best product as long as you can market something that does work to some degree.
I do feel like long term though it's like if you can market, and I can get all this impression share and all these people to your site. If you don't deliver on your side of the equation, then but that's a business problem.
That's why it's the same problem that I talked about at the beginning. Is like, as a fractional CFO, it's like, what good is the bottom line if the top line isn't being filled?
Yeah.
So it's like, what good is something without the the required input, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I a lot of times I have to look at someone's marketing strategy and look at whether or not the top line is going to sustain itself. And I've seen that happen where the top line failed and it didn't matter.
Right.
You know,
Marketing can't fix a bad business or a bad product.
Right.
You know, it can only, showcase, what's there to be bought.
and that being said, a lot of folks, we were the original question. One of the questions I was asking was about budget, and I know it just is hyper dependent upon the industry, the specific keywords. But just from somebody who says, listen, I've got a decent website, I'm not seeing the interaction, or for that matter, I'm heavily involved in print and need to migrate to more of a digital strategy. How would you advise somebody who's listening how to kind of be mentally thinking, or even for that matter, starting to save money, to put money aside specifically for that transition?
Yeah, well, it might be a similar strategy to what I mentioned earlier, where it's, hey, we'll take a minimal amount of budget, we'll get you some quick wins on the paid side. So you're paying for some digital ads here and there, whether it's, and it sort of depends on your industry or your organization, I guess. Some people, it has a really great use for Facebook. And some people, it's like, it makes no sense for us to be on Facebook. So we're paying for ads on LinkedIn. And anyway, get you some of those quick wins so you can start recognizing an ROI sooner. And then it's just a business decision, right? Like if I'm putting $1 over here and getting 3 back, I'm just going to keep doing that. Let's just keep doing that all day. That would generally be my recommendation there.
Then you want to move from pay-per-click to more of an organic SEO strategy. So you gotta maybe get some quick wins, but then start putting $1 from the $3 over into SEO, and then begin to increase that. Because at some point, kind of like the clutch of a standard car, you want to switch to where you're just using the gas. You're no longer. An example, but it's a flow thing where you want to get the wins now, but then you want to move to organic. Is that true?
I think, but ideally both, right? I mean, if you have the budget to do so.
And I think you'll see that the power of organic search cannot be understated, really. I mean, it's or overstated. Cannot be overstated. When you're organically getting this traffic in there, I mean, the people are hitting the site with high trust. They're converting at a higher rate, and it's and the more time that you're owning your space, the stronger that channel becomes. I hate using the working out example, but if you work out consistently and eat right for 15 years, and then you let off that, you're not just going to immediately go back to where you were 15 years ago. Over time, you would return back to maybe the shape you were in, and that to me is not the best analogy, but it kind of is how organic is. Like, you're not going to get that 3 months. I've been going to the gym for 3 months. How come I haven't lost 50 pounds yet? Well, because you've been going for 3 months. It takes some time to build this thing up. But once you get that thing rolling, it's. And
are you doing the right things? Working out is also another big aspect of it.
You got it, and that's why I would recommend leveraging an outside agency for those things.
All right, so I want to kind of keep hitting this one point of trying to help someone who's listening understand what a service like this costs, because I know it varies, but just listening to what we're talking about, no one would argue that the best strategy is to have some way to ease into it, and then as the ROI is there, reinvest some of those funds back into getting to the holy grail of video, SEO, organic search, and then a content strategy of some sort. How can, and again, it goes back to what I was asking who your client is. Like, an e-commerce site who's already got business going on is one thing.
Yeah. Well, if you're in e-commerce, if you're doing 99% of your revenue comes from online sales, or even 100%, let's say, I mean, it's of utmost importance that you're spending adequate budget on both an SEO and a paid strategy to drive traffic to that site. And then you want to probably spend additional funds to make sure you're converting once you get traffic on that site. I mean, that's your moneymaker, is your website. So if you're just trying to gain impression share, maybe some of these things, the importance of them can be toggled down. But I'm of course a big believer in it, and allocating as much budget as you can as it makes sense. I mean, and you may be able to speak better to this, but justifying that ROI over a period of time is important rather than just saying, well, it didn't work in 3 months, so we're out. You know, I launched this campaign for 3 days and then I cut it off. Like, that's insane.
So now what can someone do, like just starting out with next to no budget? Like what would you recommend as the first couple steps if they want to start marketing their business online?
You mean like a do-it-themselves type of a thing?
Yeah, if you were to say, start doing this, and then when you're it's working to a certain degree, or figure out it's not working over a time frame, then you might need to come talk to us at Techwood.
I mean, there's quite a bit you can learn online about it. It's kind of like an unending abyss of information, but you can start down the path yourself for sure. Again, that kind of goes back to maybe something we were kind of talking about, which is I'm a business owner. I want to work, on my business, not in it. I don't want to be my in-house marketing department, financial arm, HR department. I mean, at some point, you start handing these things off. But to get started, that's the entrepreneurial story, right? Is I'm up late at night reading Moz.com is a good one, or I'm getting certified in Google AdWords, so I know enough to be dangerous about this, and I can start launching this and get it going, and then you get some quick wins, you get some customers. Now it's let me leverage someone to do, and it doesn't just have to be the marketing side either. I mean, I think that applies to really just any silo within your business. If it's now I need to bring on someone to do my books, right? I was talking to a small business owner recently, and he's at about 10 to 11 employees, and my business, we're about 25 full-time employees, and he just got to that point where he's like, I like doing the books, like it's kind of fun for me, but it's just it's not a waste of time, it's a total not good use of my time.
Did he use the word fun?
He used the word fun. He kind of like he went to Washington and Lee, so maybe he's just real cerebral. I don't know, but
that's great.
It does seem like something a Georgia Tech grad would say.
Oh well, there you go.
Oh, their numbers. Oh, this is great. I start seeing spreadsheets. I'm like, no, thanks.
That's great. Well, so what do you see for people and really the world in general? I mean, obviously people have seen a transition to a digital world, right? Mm-hmm. But for those who haven't made that move yet, what's your advice to them from what could happen to them if they're not putting this into their 2-year plan, 1-year plan, for certain 5-year plan?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there are certain industries that got nailed by the internet, right? Like the travel industry, print media, like
consumer retail.
Yeah, like a lot of these things went down, and so that's an interesting. We've got a client now that they used to do a lot of wholesale, so they would sell products wholesale. So they weren't really concerned about. They had these reps. They were selling wholesale to Walmart and all these other different brick and mortar shops. Well, now all of a sudden retail growth, like brick and mortar retail, there is no growth there. It's just kind of maybe stagnant at best. Well, we got to keep growing this business. This is America. We have to grow our business, Maybe we.
You're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, right. I mean,
you're not number one.
We measured in growth, not just like, oh, that was great. You maintained revenue over the last year. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how good that is, but anyway, so now they've launched a bunch of separate websites that sell their products direct to consumer. Well, they don't know how to do that. They know nothing about direct to consumer. We know about direct to consumer all day, and agencies that do that kind of work will know how to bring you into that.
How to help them transition.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to pitch it as like, oh, it's you're behind the times, and you're just. I mean, sometimes it's just the industry has not caught up yet. We were talking about attorneys earlier. I've noticed my mother's an attorney, and it is hard to get them to adapt new technologies. So like, I got LexisNexis over here, and I got Microsoft Word, and that's all I need. That's all I need. You're like, okay, well, you might want to look at some tools to make your life easier. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting, and it's something that I deal with outside of marketing. Sometimes it's used in marketing, but in the world of media and drones in particular, like there's use cases for like that type of technology within that industry. But it doesn't matter if that industry doesn't see the value just because, you know, they haven't caught up to the technology or their mindset or whatever the case may be. But I think we are getting closer and closer to where every industry is being drastically affected by digital marketing. And we are going to start to see, you know, especially transitioning into some of the newer technology out there where it's not just digital, you know, content, it's actual virtual content using like augmented reality, virtual reality. That's going to drastically change marketing and advertising in ways that probably none of us can comprehend. But do you have any thoughts on, you know, where that direction is heading?
I saw, so it's Mark Cuban came to Atlanta for, I can't remember the name of the event. They're going to kill me, I don't remember the name of that event. But anyway, he came to Atlanta, and it was a big conference of a lot of people.
Venture Atlanta?
Yeah, I think that was it. And he mentioned that AI is going to just revolutionize how we do business. It's going to change. If the internet changed everything, I think he's paraphrasing here. If the internet changed everything by 10x, AI is going to change everything by 100x.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these tools, augmented reality, these Pokemon Go, I think was the first like really big success for that. But you're seeing a lot more app development around augmented reality, and we can do some just really, man, really fascinating, powerful things that can change the world. I don't know what that means for the digital marketing space specifically. I think it's one that evolves with emerging technologies and new things. So I'm optimistic that it will remain relevant. So I don't know what the future holds, but I'm excited. I think it's all good.
Yeah, you know, Matt and I have talked about this a little bit where, you know, it's never certain where technology is going to go, but as long as you know, just keep adapting with it, then, you know, there's not really too much to worry about. A lot of people like to get all doom and gloom about the future and how, you know, privacy and how connected we are, but in reality, you know, that's what people want, whether they acknowledge it. Like when you search on Google, you want to have the results actually mean something to you.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to go through pages and pages to find the right information. And if that means people or companies are paying for that spot and you're still benefiting from it, you know, there's trade-offs that a lot of people don't realize that they're making, but, you know, it's just all part of the world that we're living in, you know, but I don't know, I just kind of find it funny that people like to say, I like my privacy, I like, you know, staying away from this technology, yet the first thing that they do when they want like their food ordered to them, they're searching on Google and they want the first result.
There was this whole, you know, this was maybe it's like 15 or 20 years ago now, but there was this whole, don't put your information out on the internet, you don't know what can happen, you know. And now it's the exact opposite. Like, I think it's a smarter consumer. Like, I get it. I'm going to give you this info. It's pretty, you know, nebulous information about me, but I'm going to get more relevant, targeted. I remember advertisements. I remember sitting through, we used to watch Seinfeld when I was a kid. Me and my mom would watch it every Thursday. It was Thursday night. And gosh, I just hated the commercials because they weren't relevant to me. They didn't matter. I don't, you know, I don't drive a Ford Bronco. I don't care. But now things that get sent, you know, the ads that generally are served up to me are
they're catered to you.
They're more relevant, and that's because they've got my information. And isn't that funny too? I think people will joke like, "Oh, it's creepy. I just thought about this product and then it popped up." But what a cool world we live in, right? Where I just think about something and like based on who I am, there it is. There's the product. You can make a move on it.
Yeah, I mean the flip side. The concern obviously is that they know enough to where like what was it the movie was it Gattaca? What was the oh come on now I'm gonna do the same thing now, like I can't remember, but it was where they knew that you were going, there's a pre-crime.
Minority Report.
Well, Minority Report, yeah, there you go, there's that one. Yeah, okay. They just know too much, and then all of a sudden you haven't even done anything, but you're being arrested. Like
the algorithm says.
Yeah, the algorithm says, and so it's like the fear is that it goes, right now it's great. Oh yeah, sure, I definitely needed to get a stand-up desk. That's amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll buy that, you know?
Yeah.
But like all of a sudden they're knocking on my door and saying you need to give up your weapon. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden now we're all disarmed and now we're a bunch of sheep.
Hey, it's America though. It's America though. We're
Hey, you need my wool shirt. You know, all right, my daily wooling, you know.
right.
But there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
And at some point as a society we'll get to that, and we are now debating that even now, you know, as a culture with all the privacy breaches and Facebook kind of coming out with all this stuff that they provide all this information to corporations and they can sell to us in this context. And we'll have to decide if we're ready for that that breach of our privacy, even to the point of knowing where we are as we drive.
Right.
I mean, so we had a client out here not too long ago. It was a pressure washing company, and it's a husband-wife team. And so, you know, in order to track the mileage, so the husband has the tracker on there. She says, you know that I'm the one that approves the mileage for it, so I always know where you are, right? And he like, I was over here, you know. Not that he's lying. There's nothing malicious about it. But, you know what I'm saying? But
She should have told him that.
But the point is that, like, you know, because our phones, I love Waze. I don't get in the car and go somewhere without checking and having Waze up. Why would you not?
Right.
Like, just because I know where I'm going?
Yeah.
You kidding me? I don't know if there's a wreck up there. I don't know if there's a cop hiding behind the bushes and I'm not paying attention to my speed. Like, why would you not have Waze up and running?
Yeah.
But now they always know where I am. They. Who is they?
Yeah.
I don't know, they!
And they can send you advertisements, show you like restaurants that you might be more apt to stuff.
Exactly. I mean, there's a fine line between wanting my food delivered appropriate, you know, or having someone come pick me up in Uber, you know, and them always knowing where I am.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing that we have to figure out.
I was talking to somebody about this very topic, and he said that you know, people say like, oh, I get all this garbage on my news feed as an example, you know, and it's the reason you're getting. This was him talking. He said the reason you're getting garbage on your news feed is because you don't eliminate what you're not interested in.
Right.
You've at some point liked something because you liked it in that moment, some product or something or whatever, and now it's like weeding a garden to some degree. These social media accounts, like let's look. If you will just tell it what you're interested in, it'll go out and find it. Or, you know, it's not a situation where you have to have a Facebook account, right? So if these things aren't for you, then you don't have to leverage.
I killed my account years ago.
Yeah.
And then only recently, I did it for business mainly.
Yeah.
You have to have a personal account in order to have a business account.
That's how they get you. Yeah.
And so I had to come back in. And I to the chagrin of probably a lot of my friends, I killed all my people. I deleted them all.
Oh, that's mean.
And then, that was awful. I did that.
Just defriended me.
Oh man, does it tell people that you defriended them? That's the
yeah, it sends them a letter in the mail.
Oh my god, that's the worst. Screw you, Facebook. But anyway, I'm kind of trying to keep it real just to my family and just I got a few business partner relationships. But yeah, I tried to disconnect and it's really hard.
Keep pulling you back in.
They make it hard, but you know, you're talking about where we're getting to the point where some of this information and data collection to serve ads is going to be more proactive, where right now it's reactive. You tell it what you like, what you don't like, and that's going to continue to feed you more ads and content relevant to that information. But, you know, like you were saying, we're not too far away where it's just going to know exactly what you want before you do, and then going to be able to make decisions. And, you know, if that's going to be applied in advertising and marketing, you know, law enforcement, how is that going to be applied? Are they going to commit, you know, or hold you to a crime that you thought about, but...
Yeah.
No
way. I don't think so. There's a lot of net neutrality stuff in the headlines yesterday. They're always talking about this, and it is creepy. I was actually listening to a thing on NPR today. I can't remember the name of the company, but they're, you know, the Masters is this weekend, so they've developed some sort of algorithm that will, I guess it's a piece of AI, but it's going to tell us who's going to win the Masters by tomorrow afternoon.
Why don't we just get the octopus that guessed the World Cup? Remember that?
Oh man, I forgot all about that. Yeah, the U.S. didn't make the World Cup, like, so whatever was it last year or whatever. So now it's like I think America's over it. I'm like, yeah, World Cup, whatever.
What's that? But anyway, so we usually ask our guest a question of what is the biggest takeaway from maybe marketing in particular, but just really in general for business. If you have something as one takeaway for someone getting started with their business or struggling to grow their business, what insight would you give them?
Wow, man, that's a good one. I mean, that's a really good one.
That is
Like boiling it down into one insight. It's going to be really hard, but be ready for the failures are a part of the journey. I mean, that's what I'll you have a rough day, you have something, a series of things not go your way, and you go home and you're maybe complaining to your spouse about it. And my wife will say, "Yeah, that's part of the fun for you. Don't you understand? Like,
Don't you understand?
it's the up and the down. What if it was?" And that's
Yeah,
what,
roller coaster's not fun without the ups and the downs.
yeah.
Yeah.
What if it was just this? This is what my wife will say. Like, what if this was just your day? You just went in there from 9 to 5:30, and then you went home, and everything. Oh my gosh, I would go insane. I would go nuts.
Yeah, mental practice.
Maybe that's why don't they really have suicide rates?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So like, it's important for me. That was such a good moment for me in those years ago when she told me that. I was just having a rough probably day. It wasn't even a big deal, but you know that part of the this is part of the fun is the down part.
I like that, yeah, especially, tying it into a roller coaster. If a roller coaster was just a flat plane, wouldn't it be fun if it was always uphill? Wouldn't it be fun if it was always downhill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be fun either. So,
Yeah.
I like that, thank you.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, because I know we all got some other things to be, other places to be, but this has been really helpful.
Yeah.
To me, it's like the digital revolution is it's so misunderstood from folks who haven't been paying attention, but they really need to get a handle on their customer's journey now.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is that it's always changing. Maybe not as quick as the Google algorithm, but it's always changing, and to be in tune with that, because when your buyers start to do other behaviors in order to purchase what you sell or to find you as a service provider, and you're not listening, you're going to find yourself suffering from a cash flow standpoint and possibly even business failure. So it sounds like that you're a good resource to understand that buying journey, but also to then help adapt their own marketing strategy from a digital standpoint to cater to helping that person connect with their buyer all along that journey process, so that they can then find that they provide the service that they know their buyers need. I mean, we don't go into business because we think our product isn't helpful, or is it going to solve a problem, or is it going to provide a better life for somebody, or to help them become their own hero, right?
Nice.
And so you are that piece of that puzzle. So if you
My hero? Is that-
no, your customer is the hero over there.
I'm making a hero.
There, yeah, and that buyer is the hero. That company. It's funny. Everyone is a hero somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
But in general, so if you haven't figured out your strategy, if someone is listening and hasn't gotten a good grapple on that, give Matt a call. Schedule a strategy session of some sort. I'm not sure exactly what your process is, but make sure that you reach out and you figure this out, because if you haven't done so already, you're going to find yourself in the next 2, 3, and forget about AI coming in the picture, right? Transforming it, like you're already behind with the web stuff. So anyway, get a handle on that. How can they reach out to you?
Our website, techwoodconsulting.com, or you can get me on my personal email, my business email. It's Matt, M-A-T-T.Ficken, F-I-C-K-E-N, at techwood.com.
All right, awesome. And Jacob, thank you again for co-hosting with me. And obviously your insights are always fun and insightful. How can someone reach out to you if they have other questions or they connected with something that you said?
Yeah, on the media side, go to www.ivue.media or reach out to me directly, jacob.andrews@ivue.media.
And if you don't know who Jacob is to the Profit Minded Business, his team are the ones that are producing this right now. He's the one that produces this on a weekly basis for us. So if you have any questions about putting some videos into your content strategy, adding them to your website, or finding a way to engage your customer in this type of a format, reach out to him. He's a great resource. And of course, I'm Corbin Cook, your fractional CFO and part of the Auxilium Associates team. And I help folks deal with cash flow and understand how to maximize their profitability in a world where we're constantly finding our cash flow strained. So we love all of our listeners. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.